point, I would hope we would have a redistricting map so we can really zero in on the interest and the objections that our constituents out in the citizens of the state of Texas may have. Because sometimes there may be a sense, if we don't have a map before us, they were sort of groping in the dark and trying to swing in the dark, which is not, I know, the purpose of this committee. So I would appreciate that. As soon as we have a map available, to please make it available not only to us, but to the general public. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, your comments are very well taken. I have not seen any map myself. Traditionally, during congressional redistricting, the congressional delegations will submit their proposed maps, Republican and Democrat. I'm not in the process of drawing a map myself, at least not at this time, but as soon as anyone submits a map for consideration, it'll be made available to the entire committee. And I certainly do expect one will pop up before too long. So. Members, any other comments or questions? If not, the chair now opens for public testimony. As a reminder, public testimony will be... Oh, Senator Miles.
I thought your comments were about your rules. Are we not going to be able to make any remarks, any opening remarks?
On anything you would like, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make some opening remarks.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's hearing is focused on East Texas, Harris County, and surrounding areas. Harris County and Fort Bend counties are where my Senate district is. Senate District 13 contains all of CD 18, a good part of CD 9, and a part of CD 29. That is 3 out of the 4 named districts in the DOJ hit list letter. These districts are also some of the largest majority-minority opportunity districts in the state, Mr. Chairman. According to the Texas Legislative Council, as of 2021, over 70% of voting age population is in CD 9 is black and brown residents. CD 18 is over 70%. CD 29 is over 80%, Mr. Chairman. This is not a coincidence, as I've said before. This redistricting is nothing but an attempt to dilute and suppress voting black power and brown power of people in this state. It has been instituted simply to satisfy a racist agenda of the current president, Mr. Chairman and members. Mr. Chairman, I would like to also comment on this video conference format that you spoke of. As far as I know, we have had about 80 people sign up to testify. Mr. Chairman, would you be surprised if I told you that during the in-person hearings in Houston, at the University of Houston, Saturday, they received around 1,000 witness registrations, Mr. Chairman? Over 1,000. Houstonians packed the University of Houston auditorium and Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, where I go to church, after that, because the House Committee Republicans would not hear all the witnesses registered to testify. Many people showed up and showed out to tell the legislature that they neither want nor this redistricting or asked for it. They did so defining their communities and did so basically blind, because we haven't even seen proposed maps, as Senator Hinojosa has said. Assuming 1,000 people did indeed register to testify, that would be a little more than 12 times the registration that we have received for video conferences on our testimony. As I like to say in the chamber, if we can measure it, we can fix it, Mr. Chairman. Well, the numbers are clear. The digital divide is real, and you receive more engagement with in-person testimony, Mr. Chairman. I believe we're doing the constituents a disservice with our current testimony format. Finally, my motion for Ms. Dillon is still tabled. I understand that you wrote a letter asking for Ms. Dillon to appear. We have not heard a response from it. You know, if Ms. Dillon wrote the DOJ letter to kick off this redistricting issue, it was Ms. Dillon that gave us this August 7th deadline as well. If Ms. Dillon believes we should dilute the suppressed black and brown voices in CD 9, 18, and 29, and would like to threaten our legislative process, then she should come here and look us in the eye and answer any questions we may have, Mr. Chairman. Committee members, I said this the very first hearing, and I will say it again loud and clear. This is not redistricting. This is rigged districting. It is an absolute farce and disrespectful to every black and brown citizen in this state, Mr. Chairman. And I'm not going to move from that position.
Thank you, Senator. Would the clerk show that Senator Alvarado is present? May I respond? Not in contradiction. I just wanted to respond. It's a good time to do some of the housekeeping, and this follows up on what you've said a little bit. I did want to say that with regard to our attendance, on Friday, which was our first hearing, we had 778 people click in and watch online. Now, obviously, some of those could have double-clicked, have left, and come back in. We don't know those numbers, but we know that 778 watched the live stream online hearing Friday. That day, we had 112 registered to testify, and 48 testified on Friday. Typically, as you know, we have a lot of people when we have public hearings, they sign up on the kiosk, but not all stay to testify. A lot of them just registered on the kiosk to show that they were here to testify. But that delta between the 48 that testified and the 112 that registered to testify on Friday, we sent each one of them an individual email at the end of the day, and we got back a lot of really nice responses. Thank you for following back up, and thank you for this service, things of that nature. On Saturday, we had 527 people click on to the online stream service. So we had 527 viewers. Now, again, there may have been some that signed on for a while, left, and came back, so they might be double counted. But we know it during the course of the hearing, 527 people clicked in, or there were 570 that clicked on to watch, 527, I'm sorry. On Saturday, we had 80 witnesses registered to testify, 34 stayed on to testify. We, again, followed up with personalized emails to those as well. I recognize that the video conferencing is a different approach than what the House is doing. They are going to Harris County and to DFW. And I understand that there's two ways to look at this. But I also think that not everybody lives in DFW, certainly not just in Arlington, where they're at today. And not everybody lives in Houston. And we're able to reach out all over the state and give people from Amarillo to Beaumont, El Paso to Lufkin the opportunity to participate that would not have driven to DFW or to Houston or to wherever we went to. And so I think we also had some people in their testimony thank us that they came to the House last week and were not able to testify. And so they were glad that they were able to testify with us. Remember, someone else from South Texas said, thank you for letting me participate in this way. So I understand exactly the discussion between field hearings and regional hearings like we're having. And but I do think we're offering a service that a lot of Texans are taking advantage of. So but I promise you that as soon as we have a map to consider, there will be public hearings here in the Capitol, and we'll have as many of those as is necessary to do the committee's work. With regard to the subpoena, I did receive a letter from Senator Alvarado, I believe, specifically formally requesting that we subpoena the author of the DOJ letter. I don't object to doing that. We just sent the invitation Friday. Today is just Monday. Our rules do specifically say that we cannot subpoena during the regional hearing process, but that will be over tomorrow. So what I would suggest is, if we and Senator Miles, I understand you signed that letter, and so did Senator Hinojosa as well. the letter requesting a subpoena. So what I would suggest is Wednesday, if we have not heard back from the DOJ, that at that time we can have a formal meeting on the floor upon adjournment. And those are public meetings. We don't have to come to a committee room. And we can, if someone wants to make a motion, it does take a 2/3 vote to issue a subpoena. In the meantime, and I'll take up that motion. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Ledge Counsel to do some research because I'm told, I haven't checked myself, but I'm told that there is some case law out there that says that a state legislative body cannot subpoena a federal officer because we only have the authority to subpoena those under our jurisdiction, and they are not under our jurisdiction. I haven't read that case myself. I also presume we don't have the authority to compel someone from out of the state to attend. So I'll have that researched, and we can take up that motion Wednesday. But I'm kind of fully expecting that we'll hear from the DOJ before then. I know that the email was received late Friday. You requested it, the invitation on Thursday. I sent it on Friday. And I know it was received because late Friday we got one of those little, I'm sorry, you requested it Friday. We sent it Friday. And I got one of those email auto responses saying it had been received. I'll also say, I guess it's public because it was on Twitter, that the author of that DOJ letter tweeted that she was spreading her husband's ashes over the weekend. So I think, we need to give her a little slack on responding. If we haven't by Wednesday, then we can certainly take up that motion. But I'm going to do the research before then.
Is that it, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I think I got everything
Mr. Chairman, I thank you for that follow-up. But I have to say, watching and testifying are two different things. And I think the delta of 120 testifying compared to 1,000 testifying is a big, big delta, Mr. Chairman. Okay? Watching and testifying are two different things. And I also would like to ask, Mr. Chairman, when we have the maps, is it your intent to do regional public hearings or just here at the Capitol?
To my knowledge, the Senate has never done field hearings when considering when there's a map before the committee. I'm subject to being shown I'm wrong on that, but to my knowledge, we've never done that.
Okay. The Senate has never.
The Senate,
House has.
the House is the House either.
I think, but Chair, if I may,
Yes, sir.
and it may not have been during without a map, but we in the past have had regional hearings. I remember being part of a redistricting committee. We had hearings down in the Rio Grande Valley. And quite frankly, I can't quite remember the exact date, but I do remember having to travel to other regions of the state. And I cannot tell you whether we had a map before us or not, but I'm sure we. But I do remember the trips.
I know the Senate did field hearings in 2019 or 2020 in preparation for the 2021 session. And then, of course, that all kind of got shut down for 2021 because of COVID.
Good.
And I think that's when they first went to virtual, the House and the Senate. I know the House. But as far as I know, when we've actually had a map before us, we haven't done them. We haven't actually done.
Actually, Senator Duncan, I think, was chair at that time of the redistricting committee, if I recall.
So the cycle before.
So, Mr. Chairman, would the hearings be just like we're doing the video conferences for regional, or we're just going to have one big hearing?
Well, they would be dealt with as any other bill is. They would be dealt with in the same manner that any bill before any committee is, in terms of posting, and then we would have a hearing in the committee room, which would be open to the public, and we would have witnesses and testimony in the normal course of business that we do for any bill. But they would be in the Capitol.
But that's going to be a lot of people, Mr. Chairman. A lot of people.
I would not be surprised.
And, yeah. Well,
We always
I
get a
could
lot of
belabor the issue,
people
but I'm
for it.
not, Mr. Chairman. We've never had all virtual hearings either. But this is the first.
I think we did in 2021 during COVID.
During COVID, with the exception of COVID. You're
That
absolutely
was the
correct, sir.
exception, yes.
You're absolutely correct with the exception of COVID. Okay, more to come. We look forward to getting those maps. And, Mr. Chairman, I just think it's necessary that, everybody gets a chance to testify on something as important as this. Because, this is democracy, and everybody should have a part in it. And I respect you, and I appreciate you, but things just aren't going right, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't emphasize enough what my colleague, Senator Miles, is saying, because we witnessed it. Look, the numbers don't lie. This virtual testimony, it's just not working.
It's not.
If you look at how many people, and you gave the numbers, how many people have registered, how many people stay on versus what's happened in person. In fact, Saturday, when we both left here, we went to Houston, and there were still a couple of hundred people waiting to testify. So people are showing up to the regional hearings, and they're staying. They're waiting to testify. I'm not sure what kind of a turnout will happen in Arlington, but my guess is that people will show up and will stay. So again, the numbers speak for themselves on that. Secondly, I want to just have some follow-up questions about the DOJ letter for just a couple of points of clarification. After our first meeting on Friday, did you or your staff have contact with the DOJ prior to emailing the letter of invitation?
No,
Okay.
I haven't had any contact with that office.
Okay, so then it seems like your response has been consistent. You said before your only interaction with the DOJ was when you reviewed, I guess, the letter dated, their July 7th letter, and then the letter of invitation that was emailed to the Assistant Attorney General on Friday. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so those would be the two. And I think you said that you have not received any response from the Assistant Attorney General's office.
So we of course recessed our hearing, and I went back to the office, wrote up a letter right then, and sometime after 5 p.m. I got one of those automatic responses from their office saying it had been received.
Okay, and that's been it?
That was Friday evening, and of course today's just Monday.
Okay. And then we did some research, and under our Senate rules and state law, issuing a subpoena that's been considered a procedural matter, not a non-procedural or substantive matter. It's clear that if the committee chooses to do so, we could issue a subpoena to the Assistant Attorney General Dillon during today's regional hearing or tomorrow, but I think you said that we're going to do that on Wednesday.
So
Is that
my
right?
understanding,
Did I hear that correctly?
my understanding of the Senate resolution we passed, it specifically says that we cannot issue subpoenas during regional hearings. But, and I'm still not clear on if we can issue a subpoena to a federal officer. However, I will ask Ledge Council to research that for us all, and I will also take up a motion Wednesday from the committee to issue a subpoena if anyone cares to bring that, and you obviously do. Hopefully before then we'll have heard and have already begun to make arrangements for someone from the DOJ to come and testify.
Okay. And again, I just, keep bringing this up because the reason that we're here is because of this letter, and they've given some pretty quick deadlines. I think it's August the 7th that they have.
Which I'm not sure what that is a deadline.
Well,
to.
I just think if they're giving us some pretty tight deadlines, it's okay for us to give them a tight deadline to respond to us.
I don't disagree. I think, and that's why I said Wednesday we'll be happy to entertain a motion. But always need to bear in mind as well, the governor could have put congressional redistricting on the call regardless of whether he received that letter.
I don't think that would have happened. I don't think he was going to put this on the call until he got that letter and until Trump called him. That's what sparked all of this. That's why we're here, because none of this was ever discussed during the regular session. And as I said on Saturday, usually in special sessions, you take up bills that needed to be tweaked or something like the Central Texas floods that happened, but nobody was talking about redistricting in the special session. The only thing we were talking about kind of on the sidelines was the court case in El Paso.
Well, I'm not at all disagreeing with you that that's the norm, but I will say the map that's in place today for the congressional members was passed in a special session in 2021 and then reaffirmed in 2023 during the regular. And then we, on occasions during the prior decade, due to court orders or the governor, then Perry, just on his own initiative, putting it on the call, have dealt with redistricting.
Okay. Well, and since I brought up El Paso, we've referenced the court case in El Paso several times, whether on the floor or here. Is it leadership's intention to push members to move forward with redrawing the map in the next couple of weeks? Then it would be beneficial for all the committee members to be knowledgeable about the claims raised in the ongoing litigation and the state's position on the 2021 map and what the expert witnesses said. Would you be willing to ask the Attorney General's office to provide us with full transcripts from the trial and have them to be part of the legislative record?
Yeah, we can certainly ask them to make them available, probably drop them into our Dropbox if they do that. I can tell you that I've called the Attorney General's office and asked them to come and just brief me, and they've done that. And then I've read quite a few of the documents myself, not all of them by any measure. And I also read the Attorney General's response to the DOJ letter at issue and the court's response to the motion by the plaintiffs to reopen testimony because of that letter. And I'm sure that if you individually wanted to ask the Attorney General's office, they'd come to your office and brief you up on it as well. But we'll ask them to pick out the pertinent documents that'll give a good overview and get those to us, and they're all public record, and we'll be happy to make sure they get dropped into the committee, into your Dropbox, the committee Dropbox.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. I think it's important for us to see that because attorneys, state officials, people were under oath and talked a lot about how the maps in 2021 were racially blind, VRA compliant, constitutional, and I'm just curious if were people lying back then, or are they? Even the man that drew the map, Mr. Adam Kincaid, testified to that, and so was he committing perjury? Was he doing something else? So I think it's important that we have that. So I appreciate your reply.
Happy to do that.
Mm-hmm. One last thing. It bothers me that we continue to treat this mid-decade redistricting like any normal redistricting, because it's not a normal redistricting. But yet we insist on, this body insists on treating it as if it is a regular redistricting cycle. This is not a regular redistricting cycle, so why are we treating this as if it is? I mean, this is a mid-decade redistricting called by the President of the United States for personal reasons. But yet we want to conform it into one of our regular decade redistricting. It's a round peg trying to go into a square hole. So why do we have to go by the guidelines of our regular redistricting process? President's office isn't. Our governor's office isn't. Our lieutenant governor's office isn't.
So what I'm trying to do,
And Mr. Chairman, I'm going to say this before you say that. I have the utmost, once again, the utmost respect for you and my colleagues. But this is an arrogant process. This is a blatant, arrogant, conceited process that's just being shoved down the throats of the citizens of Texas, particularly the African American and brown, who is going to hurt the most. By no means am I calling any of my colleagues arrogant and cocky, but this process is, Mr. Chairman, this process is. And it's going to hurt my community. It's going to hurt Senator Alvarado's community. And it just seems like nobody cares. It's like we don't exist in this state. And many a times I've said to my colleagues, the strength of Texas is in its diversity. We cannot live up to our full capacity until we embrace our diversity. It's getting ridiculous, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, thank you for your comments, and I take them in with the intent that they were offered.
Please do, sir. Thank you.
And what my commitment is, that I'll do my best to make sure that we operate the committee in full accordance with the rules of the Senate and with the rules of the Senate resolution we passed on Monday, and I will do my best to try to keep it as open and transparent as possible. So if y'all have any more requests for information, let me know, and I'll do my very best to accommodate those. Again, for right now, we're just in an information gathering stage. We're here because we're in response to the charge, the governor placing this on the call. And we have one more information hearing tomorrow. After that, as I mentioned, we can have a discussion Wednesday if someone wants to offer a motion for a subpoena. In the meantime, I'll ask for Ledge Counsel to research that question of subpoenaing a federal officer. And with your help, I'd like to go ahead and open us up for the witnesses. I know we have a few standing by, including a couple of congressional members. We have about 50 people in the waiting room. So are there any more comments?
I do have a
Yes,
suggestion. Since we have Senator Hughes on the committee, and he as chair of State Affairs, they did issue a subpoena to the CEO of BlackRock who lived out of state in New York. So maybe he can lend his expertise in helping us to get that subpoena if the issue is subpoenaing somebody that is out of state. Just a suggestion, since he has experience
I've already planned
doing
on consulting him about this, and I do need to make sure that there's not something unique in the fact that it's a federal officer. But again, we will have a hearing on this Wednesday, right after we recess for the day, and by then hopefully we have all the answers, and we may well find that we've already received a response to our invitation and worked out a date for someone from DOJ to come testify.
Thank you.
Thank you. That said, anybody else? All right. Senator Hughes, did you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you have all this under control. Of course, you're proceeding appropriately. I would only, to give a little context to our colleague, Senator Alvarado, the Committee on State Affairs authorized by a 2/3 vote, authorized the chair to issue subpoenas to a number of financial firms, BlackRock, I believe BlackRock, State Street, also ISS, and Glass Lewis. ISS, a proxy advisory firm, was back in 2022. Armed with that, we contacted those entities, told them what we wanted, and they agreed to comply without the necessity of issuing the subpoena. So we never tested that issue. We also, in that case, though, each of those firms have people in Texas. So our backup was, even if we couldn't get to the boys in New York, they had folks in Texas we could spend if we had to. So just for context, everything you said is true, but we never got to the point of having to enforce that subpoena against an out-of-state person. We hope we have that authority, but again, we never tested that. So, and of course, I'm going to assist the chair and the committee moving forward. But I want to make sure we were clear on that, what happened with state affairs historically. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?